I've got some troubling news about England's royal family.
It will no longer be possible for me to give so much of my time and energies to the charities and issues for which I care so deeply.
In a moment that's sending shockwaves across the United Kingdom, King Charles has just made a bold, history-making announcement that no one saw coming. Royal watchers, political leaders, and everyday citizens are all reeling as the monarch breaks centuries of tradition with a single, powerful statement. So, what could possibly prompt such a daring move from the king? Is this the beginning of a new royal era, or the end of an old one? Stay with us as we unpack the jaw-dropping details behind King Charles's stunning declaration. Downsizing for the people. In a bold and unexpected move that's shaking the foundations of royal tradition, King Charles has announced a major shift in how the British monarchy will operate going forward. This isn't just about changing a few customs. It's a deep and meaningful transformation that affects both the face and the function of the royal family. From now on, royal titles will no longer automatically mean luxury, prestige, or a free pass to public money. In fact, only a very small group of royals will remain at the heart of the monarchy. That group includes King Charles himself, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and William's direct heirs. These individuals alone will carry out official duties and represent the crown. Everyone else, regardless of their royal blood, will step back from the spotlight, and more importantly, from the public purse. This is not just a cosmetic adjustment or a nod to modern times. It is a real, structural reform with clear consequences. The royal family's spending will be drastically reduced. Expensive travels, official events, and personal expenditures by royals will now be closely examined, and the public will have the right to know exactly where their money is going. For a monarchy that has often operated behind closed doors, this is nothing short of revolutionary. King Charles's decision is sending a clear message. The monarchy must now be about service, not spectacle. Gone are the days of unquestioned privilege and blind loyalty. Instead, we are entering an era where every royal duty must have purpose. Every penny spent must be justified, and the institution itself must earn the respect of the people, not simply expect it. This radical move comes at a time when the public is demanding more openness and responsibility from its leaders, and the monarchy is no exception. By choosing to downsize the royal roster and open the books to the public eye, King Charles is not just following the tide of modern expectations, he is taking the lead. It's a calculated risk, but also a powerful statement. Tradition must adapt if it is to survive. This new direction may spark debates and raise eyebrows, especially among those who cherish royal customs. But for others, it's a refreshing change, one that could redefine what it means to be royal in the 21st century. The pomp and pageantry will still be there, but behind it will be a leaner, more focused, and more accountable monarchy. In essence, King Charles is reshaping the monarchy into something more relatable, more responsible, and perhaps more enduring. It's a historic turn that could influence royal families around the world, and it all begins with fewer crowns, fewer carriages, and a lot more clarity. Let's take a look at the likely antecedent for the downsizing, the growing rebellion against the British monarchy. Protests against the British royal family have a long history, stretching back decades. The monarchy, despite its grandeur and tradition, has often found itself in the eye of political storms. Take, for instance, Queen Elizabeth's visit to Quebec in 1964. Her arrival was met not with cheers, but with open public disapproval, signaling early discontent. Similarly, in 1981, during a visit to New York by Prince Charles, protests erupted amid the Troubles in Northern Ireland, leading to the arrest of 4 individuals. These incidents were not isolated. They were part of a broader pattern of the royal family being a lightning rod for political unrest. Even the younger royals, usually seen as more modern and in tune with current times, have not escaped the backlash. In 2022, Prince William and Kate Middleton embarked on a Caribbean tour meant to celebrate Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. However, what was intended as a goodwill mission quickly turned sour. The first stop in Belize had to be cancelled due to fierce protests by locals who opposed their presence. What should have been a celebration instead highlighted the growing gap between the monarchy and the former colonies, leaving many questioning the relevance of the royal family in today's world. But since the death of Queen Elizabeth and the ascension of King Charles III to the throne, the discontent has become louder, more organized, and more visible. In November 2022, during a visit to York, King Charles and Queen Camilla found themselves narrowly escaping eggs thrown at them by a protester. This act of defiance quickly made headlines, drawing attention to a rising movement. The group leading this charge is Republic, an organization campaigning for the monarchy to be replaced with an elected head of state. Their slogan, "Not my king." This phrase has transformed from a mere catchphrase into a powerful symbol of the public's frustration and disillusionment with the monarchy. What is unfolding is no fringe movement. As Michaela Friel of Insider reported after attending an anti-monarchy protest in Scotland, the crowd was sizable, composed of hundreds of people, not just a handful of radicals. This is a swelling movement, and it's gaining momentum. People are linking the monarchy's historical ties to colonialism with the present-day need for democratic reforms, weaving together past grievances and future aspirations into a call for change. Whether through the dramatic gesture of egg-throwing or well-organized rallies, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The royal family may still shine with its centuries-old traditions, but for many, that shine is beginning to fade. The monarchy, once revered, now faces a growing tide of skepticism and demand for reform. Will this discontent evolve into a full-fledged movement that alters the future of Britain's royal family? Only time and the will of the people will reveal the answer. Let's dig further into King Charles's response to the agitations. The Crown gives back. In an extraordinary move that has captivated both the nation and the world, King Charles made a powerful statement of humility and change. He announced that two of the most iconic royal estates, Balmoral and Sandringham, would no longer be private retreats exclusively for the royal family. These historic residences, long symbols of royal luxury and privilege, are being opened up to the public in a bold and groundbreaking way. Instead of being just lavish getaways for royalty, these grand estates will now become museums, research centers, and even community housing projects, accessible to everyone. This isn't just about giving away property, it's a deeply symbolic act. The King's decision represents a dismantling of the old barriers that have often placed the monarchy on a pedestal, far removed from the lives of ordinary citizens. For generations, these estates were the epitome of royal entitlement, private domains where the monarchy retreated from the world. Now, by returning them to the people, King Charles is sending a powerful message. The monarchy exists to serve the people, not just to be served by them. The move is significant on many levels. First, it challenges centuries of tradition that place the crown in a space of untouchability, where the wealth and privileges of the royal family were kept out of reach of the public. By opening the doors of these once private estates, King Charles is signaling a new era of transparency, connection, and accountability. It's an invitation to the public to not just admire the royal family from a distance, but to engage with the monarchy in a more meaningful way. Moreover, this gesture speaks to a much deeper need for healing. Over the years, the British monarchy has faced growing criticism and calls for reform, with many feeling disconnected from the institution. This act of returning Balmoral and Sandringham is an effort to bridge that gap, to rebuild trust, and show that the monarchy understands the concerns of the people. It's a step toward mending the divide between the crown and the common citizen, demonstrating that the monarchy is in touch with the changing times. In transforming these estates into spaces for public benefit, museums where history can be preserved and celebrated, research centers that promote learning, and housing projects that provide much-needed accommodation. King Charles is giving back more than just land. He is giving back a sense of ownership, a sense of community, and a sense of purpose. It's a powerful reminder that the role of the monarchy is not just to live in luxury, but to be a force for good in society. With this single act, King Charles has not only changed the fate of two historic properties, but has also redefined what it means to be royalty in the modern age. His message is clear. The monarchy's true power lies not in its wealth or status, but in its ability to serve the people. It's a vision that looks beyond tradition, focusing instead on what the monarchy can give back to society, and it's a vision that promises to resonate for generations to come. With his reforms, King Charles is seen by many as a modern monarch holding an ancient title. Let's dig further. A modern monarch in a traditional crown. A year into King Charles III's reign, the British monarchy has steered away from dramatic upheaval, instead opting for gentle, gradual changes. After the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, many people wondered if Charles would completely reshape the centuries-old institution that had defined his family for so long. But rather than making bold and radical moves, his first year as king has been characterized by subtle adjustments, preserving traditions with a hint of modern flair. After waiting 70 years for the throne, Charles assumed his role with surprisingly little turbulence. Although some of his more eccentric moments, like his visible frustration over a misplaced pen box, made the news, they were quickly overshadowed by notable diplomatic achievements. One such highlight was his eloquent bilingual speech during a state visit to Germany, which earned him praise. The underlying message from the new monarch has been clear. Change will come, but it will be gradual, not revolutionary. In the past, Charles was known for his outspoken views and idealistic aspirations, but now, as king, he approaches his responsibilities with more caution and humility, fully aware of the weight of the crown. His plans for slimming down the monarchy and modernizing its functions have been outlined, but the bold reforms some expected haven't materialized. Instead, Charles has embraced a role as a diplomat-in-chief, traveling across the UK, engaging with various faith communities, and fostering friendly relations with global leaders, including showing support for Ukraine's president amidst the ongoing conflict. From his first speech as king, Charles emphasized his desire to find a balance between honoring royal traditions and embracing progress. He openly acknowledged that he would step away from his previous activism, allowing his son, Prince William, to take the lead on important causes such as climate change and homelessness, issues that William has taken up with fresh enthusiasm. Charles's coronation in May was a symbolic representation of this balance between the old and the new. While it featured traditional ceremonies and the royal regalia that have marked monarchies for centuries, it also included representatives from non-Christian faiths, making it a historic and inclusive event. The ceremony was also notable for its inclusion of grassroots activists, not just high-ranking officials and titled individuals. However, the road ahead is not without its challenges. Public scrutiny of the royal family's finances has intensified, and there are growing calls for more transparency and inclusivity within the institution. Some countries have begun to question their continued allegiance to the monarchy, and even within the royal family, tensions simmer, often highlighted by the outspoken critiques of Prince Harry and Meghan. Despite these obstacles, King Charles continues to move forward, fully aware that the monarchy is at a pivotal moment in its long history. His reign may not overturn centuries of tradition, but it is quietly ushering the royal family into the modern age, doing so with diplomacy, careful consideration, and just enough intrigue to keep the public's attention. As the world watches, the question remains, what kind of legacy does King Charles III hope to leave behind? Let's delve into his style of owning up to past mistakes, a monarch who apologizes. One of the most remarkable moments in recent history wasn't a grand declaration or a shift in policy. It was something far more personal and powerful, a public apology. In a rare and deeply moving moment, King Charles stepped forward to acknowledge the monarchy's past mistakes. With visible emotion, he spoke candidly about the times when the royal family failed to stand with the people, when silence was chosen over a voice that could have offered comfort, and when detachment was preferred over the empathy that was desperately needed. This wasn't just a formality, nor a statement crafted by a palace spokesperson with carefully chosen words. It came directly from the king himself, in a manner that was strikingly personal. It was not only the words he spoke that left a mark, but the sincerity with which he said them. A sincere recognition of the pain and distance that had, at times, defined the relationship between the monarchy and the public. Such an apology, coming from a figure who represents centuries of tradition, was almost unheard of. Royals are not typically known for openly admitting fault, and certainly not for exposing their emotions in such a vulnerable way. But in that moment, King Charles chose to embrace the raw power of honesty, acknowledging that there were times when the monarchy had fallen short of its duty to be the voice of compassion and support for its people. This apology was a far cry from a scripted, diplomatic statement that might have been expected from any other public figure in his position. Instead, it was a display of vulnerability, a recognition that even those in the highest positions are not immune to the flaws of their institutions or their own personal shortcomings. This rare act of repentance was not only about owning past wrongs, but about showing the world that true leadership sometimes requires humility and the courage to admit when things haven't gone as they should. This moment wasn't about drama, headlines, or spectacle. Rather, it was about depth, humanity, and a willingness to heal. King Charles's words were a reminder that, despite the grandeur of monarchy, at the heart of it all are people, and people make mistakes. The king's public apology was an acknowledgement of those mistakes, but it was also a step toward building a deeper connection with the very people the monarchy serves. It was an extraordinary moment, not because of its fanfare, but because it allowed us to see a monarch not as a distant symbol of power, but as a human being capable of deep reflection and remorse. And for many, it might not be remembered for its grand gestures, but for the depth of its meaning, a moment where the heart of a leader was laid bare for the world to see. Let's dive into how the people view the monarchy after Charles's ascension, from queen to king. A year into King Charles III's reign, the British monarchy seems to be undergoing a quiet transformation rather than a dramatic overhaul. After waiting for over 70 years to ascend to the throne, Charles stepped into his role with grace, ensuring minimal disruption following the passing of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. While there have been lingering questions about the relevance of a hereditary monarchy in modern, multicultural Britain, Charles has largely avoided stirring controversy, aside from a brief, well-publicized moment of frustration over a pen box. Instead, he has focused on fine-tuning the monarchy's approach, adjusting its tone to fit the present times. Rather than attempting to completely reinvent the institution, Charles has chosen to refine and subtly adapt it. His first year has been marked by small but noticeable changes, more diplomatic visits, heartfelt public speeches, and inclusive gestures that reflect a more modern outlook. From warmly greeting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to speaking in fluent German during a speech to Germany's parliament, Charles has embraced his role as a global diplomat and soft power ambassador. He has made an effort to connect with diverse communities across the UK, meeting with leaders of various faiths and highlighting the importance of inclusivity which he emphasized in his first Christmas speech and during his coronation ceremony. For the first time in British history, leaders of non-Christian faiths were formally included in the royal proceedings, signaling a shift towards a more representative monarchy. Although Charles has long been an advocate for environmental causes, he has scaled back his activism since becoming king. Instead, he has passed the baton to his son, Prince William, who has taken up the mantle with initiatives focusing on climate change and homelessness. This reflects a royal tradition of continuity, keeping the monarchy grounded in its traditions while allowing for a gentle evolution over time. Charles has chosen not to push for sweeping reforms, but to adapt gradually to changing times. His coronation in May exemplified this balance. While centuries-old rituals, such as the crowning and anointing, were preserved, new elements were introduced to reflect the diverse and multicultural nature of modern Britain. The guest list was equally varied, with global leaders seated alongside local charity workers, symbolizing the monarchy's attempt to stay connected with the people it serves and to represent a broader cross-section of society. However, the road ahead is not without its challenges. There are growing public calls for greater transparency, accountability, and a reckoning with the monarchy's historical ties to colonialism and slavery. These issues have sparked a rise in Republican sentiment, particularly in some Commonwealth countries, and it remains to be seen whether the monarchy will maintain its current scope or lose territories over time. Still, Charles' first year on the throne has shown that his vision for the monarchy is one of quiet, steady evolution, rather than dramatic transformation. As biographer Sally Bedell Smith has observed, the changes under his reign are incremental but more visible, a careful recalibration rather than a complete revolution. Whether this approach will be enough to ensure the monarchy's continued relevance in Britain's future remains uncertain. But for now, King Charles III wears the crown with calm determination, rather than the thunderous force of his predecessors. What else has King Charles done to restructure the monarchy? Let's find out what the future of the monarchy might look like, given the current situation. The future of the monarchy. In a groundbreaking move, King Charles has made two major changes that are transforming the monarchy as we know it. In a surprising twist, he introduced the idea of a partnership in leadership. Instead of ruling alone, King Charles will now share the throne with his son, Prince William. This new arrangement means that Prince William will take charge of key responsibilities, such as managing the country's foreign relations and ensuring the royal family stays connected with the people. This shift not only signals a new direction for the monarchy, but it also highlights the growing importance of Prince William's role in shaping the future of the British royal family. In addition to this revolutionary leadership structure, King Charles unveiled a second bold change: the establishment of a citizen-elected council tasked with overseeing the monarchy's activities. This council will meet every year to review how the royal family operates, how it spends public funds, and whether it is still relevant to the people. This is a huge step towards transparency, making sure that the monarchy remains accountable to the citizens it serves. For centuries, the royal family has operated with little external scrutiny, but now this council will ensure that the monarchy is aligned with the expectations and values of modern Britain. But King Charles didn't stop there. In what could be described as a historic move, he proposed the idea of rewriting the coronation oath, a sacred vow taken by monarchs during their coronation ceremony. This would be the first time in hundreds of years that the oath would undergo such a change. The new version would include key principles that are central to modern society, such as service, justice, inclusivity, and a deep love for the country. This would mark a dramatic departure from the traditional vows that focused primarily on upholding the church and ruling over the people. By suggesting these changes, King Charles is not just thinking about the monarchy's role in the past, but also about how it can better serve and connect with today's diverse and evolving society. Together, these changes paint a picture of a monarchy that is evolving and adapting to the times, one that is more inclusive, transparent, and connected to the people it represents. In doing so, King Charles is setting the stage for a new era of royal leadership that resonates with the values and aspirations of a modern, democratic society. What do you think about King Charles's stunning announcement and his strategic reforms? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.